How's ScoMo's form?
Most of the Canberra press pack has never liked him, and they were giddy at the prospect of another crack at their favourite target.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me here today.
And they chucked rocks at him for an entire hour.
We must move forward, not backward, upward, not forward.
Morrison fronted the cameras to defend his decision to secretly sign himself on as Co-Minister for Health, Resources, Finance and Home Affairs, as well as Treasurer. The gallery told the former PM that it was underhand.
It's the secrecy that we're upset about.
The former PM told the gallery to go and eat a bowl of
Will you resign over this?
Well, of course not.
This might be an unpopular thing to say, but I kind of get where ScoMo's coming from.
Thank you.
Which is a polite way of saying it was my cock on the block.
People held me rightly to account for that. We've had an election, and that's been run and done, and here I am before you today, no longer as the Prime Minister.
We're looking at this issue calmly in the rearview mirror, and we've kind of forgotten how hectic things were back in early 2020.
So I'd rather have this discussion about what I did do, rather than what I didn't do.
He made the point that he didn't tell his colleagues he was a silent wingman because he didn't want them second-guessing themselves. He didn't tell us about it because he didn't want interest groups thinking there was some kind of right of review to a minister's decision. And the only person affected in any real way was the Governor-General, who probably got RSI signing all the executive orders.
Yeah, but still...
It still feels like he was being a sneaky bastard. And it took Albanese no time to call him out as evasive and self-serving.
Well, the first rule of Power Grab Club is don't talk about Power Grab Club.
Not that Morrison was showing any contrition.
Did the Prime Minister use any powers that were unlawful? No. Did the Prime Minister exercise any powers that intervene with the operations of any minister? No. Did the Prime Minister take any additional payment for any of these things? Of course not.
Hopefully we'll get an updated TikTok out of it all.
I'm happy to return to you, but let's just keep it civil. Andrew? Catherine?
Morrison looked like he could use a drink.
I know a bloke who can help with that. Peter Gago is back home in the Barossa Valley after a whirlwind tour of Perth in which the creator of Penfolds' famous Grange took the city's A-listers for a drink.
When was the last time you drank Grange?
I'm on more of a Rawson's retreat budget, much like you. And my invite to the great Penfolds dinner of 2022 was clearly lost in the mail. The Premier's was not. The shindig was held on Friday night at the home of the traditional owner of most of the land from Perth to Esperance, Nigel Satterley.
What food did they pair the wine with?
Sausage.
Not exactly a diverse crowd, though.
What are you talking about? You've got a heterosexual multimillionaire in mining, medicine, retail and disability services. They might look like a bunch of good old boys keen to maintain the current industrial political complex, but they're actually quite socially progressive. Russell Gibbs is chairman of the West Coast Eagles. They've been running an outreach program for troubled youth for years. Very good at keeping senior citizens active and feeling included. Michael Chaney's daughter is a teal independent, for the love of God.
Do you reckon McGowan should have gone?
I reckon I would have dinner with Vladimir Putin if he was serving me Grange. But I'm not the Premier.
Exactly.
We've made fun of the sausage fest thing, but the fact there were no ladies there to ruin the fun is irrelevant. McGowan's got enough headaches managing gender quotas in caucus and doesn't really need it infiltrating his social life. And nobody ever mentions gender makeup when female politicians have gal pal lunches.
Of course.
The Satterley dinner came 2 nights after Gago helped Roger Cook drink his fill at Steve's bar.
How the other half live, hey?
Yeah. I don't begrudge Mark McGowan and Roger Cook getting their wine wings on at these kind of events, because for every social event that's actually fun, like those ones would have been, the Premier and his deputy attend 24 mind-numbingly boring events at local schools and charity award nights.
And grab a handful of potato chips.
The question for taxpayers and voters is whether government policy will be bent to benefit those dinner companions.
The question is, does it pass the pub test?
I reckon that after a half a dozen bottles of Barossa Shiraz, nobody would remember what they talked about anyway.
I'm rich, I'm happy, and I've got wonderful family and friends.
Well, the execs at BHP will be unlocking the Grange, won't they?
No, they wouldn't offend their palate with local swill. Only French at 125 St George's Terrace.
And this Chateau LeBlanc 68 is supposed to be served slightly chilled.
BHP has just unveiled a profit of $21.3 billion US.
It's as big as they come.
BHP is known as the Big Australian, but these results show again it should be called the Big West Australian because that's where all the money comes from. Iron ore again drove the lion's share of the miners' profits, which is not surprising considering strong demand for steel at the moment.
There's a war still going on.
The stellar result had every executive on the ASX thinking one thing.
If I could be like Mike.
All eyes are now on the size of the bonuses going to BHP Mike Henry and his executive team.
Think big.
I'm sure. I'm Ben Harvey. For more update, click the subscribe button below.